Good morning, teacher. We are group number 5, so we're going to talk about curriculum evaluation. So, it refers to assess the value of program, course, and a field of study. Evaluation essentially is a provision of information for the sake of facilitating decision making at various stages of curriculum development. This information may pertain to the program as a complete entity or only to some of its components. Evaluation also implies the selection of criteria, collection, and analysis of data. It includes obtaining information for use in judging the worth of a program and procedure. It is a comprehensive term and transcends standardized tests, covering all means of ascertaining of results construction. Evaluation of curriculum is an integral and essential part of the whole process of curriculum development. It is a continuous activity and not a tail-end process. Evaluation and planning are a complementary process which occur almost simultaneously and continuously. Planning is made on the basis of evaluation and vice versa. However, as a separate state, evaluation has its own entity. Curriculum evaluation is an essential phase of curriculum development. Through evaluation, a faculty discovers whether a curriculum is fulfilling its purpose and whether students are actually learning.
The importance of curriculum evaluation. So, it is very important to fulfill classroom activities, to diagnose learning difficulties of students, to determine readiness for new learning experiences, also to assist students in their problems of adjustment and prepare reports of pupil progress. Personally, I consider that it is important because we can identify the advantages, disadvantages, and thus it will be possible to improve. It is also very important to ask ourselves these questions to know if we are meeting expectations or not. So, for example, is the curriculum appropriate for a particular group of students? Are the instructional methods select the best choices of the objective solved? Is the content the best that could be selected? Are the materials recommended for instructional purposes appropriate and the best available for the purpose envisaged? On the other hand, there are important points of curriculum evaluation. So the first one is qualitative, that is a formative assessment or evaluation, that it is conducted during the development or improvement of a program or courses. Also, we have quantitative, that is summative evaluation or assessment, and it is to evaluate students' learning at the end of an instructional unit by comparing it against some standard or benchmark. And finally, we have evaluation of different components. So there are components like objectives, content, methods, and evaluation procedures for students' assessment to determine if the curriculum have the needs and education purposes of the target group.
Besides, here we have some objectives that have been stated to keep on with the process of curriculum evaluation, and here it is the first objective, which is to examine and evaluate the historical, philosophical, ethical, social, economic, and political influence on curriculum. So this aim will help us to determine the outcomes of a program as well as to decide whether to accept or reject a program. Besides, the second point says to evaluate curriculum methods and structures in relation to national curricular standards and to national value-added mandates. So this objective will help us to verify or to discern the need for a revision of the course content as well as the syllabus. Then we have to explore the effects of curriculum on teaching, learning, supervision, and policy. And as fourth aim, we have to evaluate the curriculum demands of a digital age. So it's important to, in curriculum evaluation, to keep updating our knowledge, our organization, our plans, to help in future development of the curriculum material for continuous improvement of everybody who is immersed in education. And finally, we have to improve methods of teaching and instructional techniques. Okay, now regarding the types of curriculum evolution, there are three main types according to Scriven. First, we have the formative evaluation. It occurs during the course of curriculum development. Its purpose is to contribute to the improvement of the educational program. The merits of a program are evaluated during the process of its development. The evaluation results provide information to the program developers and enable them to correct flaws detected in the program. Thus, this type of curriculum evaluation focuses on a qualitative approach. On the other hand, we have the summative evaluation, and this type of curriculum evaluation, the final effects of a curriculum are evaluated on the basis of its stated objectives, and it takes place after the curriculum has been fully developed and put into operations. And finally, we have the diagnostic evaluation, and it is directed towards two purposes, either for placement of students properly at the outset of instructional level, such as secondary school, or to discover the underlying cause of deviances in student learning in any field of study. This diagnostic evaluation is usually used at the beginning of the school year.
Types of curriculum evaluation. The formative evaluation occurs during the course of a curriculum development to contribute to the improvement of educational program. Summative evaluation, the final consequences of a project that are measured in summative evaluation. Diagnostic evaluation, it can be used properly to place pupils at the start of instructional level. Placement evaluation, determine whether you have the required abilities and how well you know the material. The criterion referenced, pupil performance should be described in terms of a defined domain of instructionally relevant tests. The non-referenced evaluation, pupil performance should be described in terms of relative position within a known group. Decision making and supervision. Bernard and Goodyear says that supervision is an intervention provided by a senior member to a junior member or members that have the same profession, and says the Department of Labor. The Department of Education has released a list of the most important people of the field of educational supervision. Educational supervision make sure teachers and other faculty members are doing what they are supposed to be doing and that students are receiving the best education as possible. Features of supervision. Supervision is an intervention. It's provided by a clinical supervisor, and it is also viewed as a relationship that extends over time. And we have some needs for supervision. Supervision is also an intervention. There are unique competencies and skills involved in supervision that allow the supervisor to help the supervisee. A dialogue can develop between supervisor and supervisor as a means to share personal styles and preferences for interventions to be used in supervision. The needs for supervision are to give competent technical support. Supervision is required, and teachers require supervision to grow. They also need supervision to assist prepare them for learning. Teachers require supervision to grow. To teach democratic professional leadership, supervision is also required. Finally, what is decision making? There are unique competencies and skills involved in supervision that allow the supervisor to help the supervisee. A dialogue can develop between supervisor and supervisor as a means to share personal styles and preferences for interventions to be used in supervision. Now, we have some types of decisions, like the institutional decisions. I'll look at some of the key decisions that affect the quality of an institution. Now we have the strategy decisions. These are about who should be involved in what, when, and how. After institutional decisions are made, it remains to see how it should be implemented and where. Then we have the administrators' behaviors decisions. The administrators must know themselves well, and also others and their own behavior. They need to be able to make decisions about their own response and behaviors, to know why they're administrating or what they're doing.
Now I am gonna continue with the features. In supervision, we have different features. First, we have supervision is an intervention. So there are unique competencies and skills involved in supervision that allow the supervisor to help the supervisee. We have different modes, and intervention that provide a framework for the process and help the supervisee to understand the same process. This also allowed the supervisee to have a dialogue with the supervisor and share personal styles and preference for the frameworks and intervention that are going to be used in the supervision. Then we have supervision is provided by a clinical supervisor or educational supervisor. This delivers assistance directly to teachers to bring out changes in the classroom operation and teachers' behavior. And this has different advantages like provision of objective feedback, identifying and solving instructional problems, assisting teachers in their strategies and promote learning, and motivating students and managing the classroom. Next, we have supervision is a relationship that extends over time. The process of supervision occurs within the relationship established between the supervisor and the supervisee. It is important to keep in mind that both of them have contributed to that relationship and both of them have responsibilities. So the time that this process will last will be according to the kind of relationship that they have. In order to create a relationship, both of them create workshops, consultation, and they both share common goals. The fact that supervision is ongoing allows the relationship to grow and develop. So the importance of supervisory relationship has received more attention in supervision literature. And finally, we have need for supervision. Supervision is needed to provide expert technical assistance, teachers' growth, teachers' preparation for learning, teachers' updating, and democratic professional leadership. Our final topic is decision making. Decision making is the most critical aspect of educational management. As educators, we have to make lots of decisions. However, we have to be very careful about the consequences that these decisions may have. Therefore, decision making is considered as the heart of administration. It is a process through which administrators make choices from different alternatives to achieve a goal or an objective. We have different types of decisions. First, we have institutional decisions, which are decisions related to schedules, policies, activities, programs, curricula, and everything related with the quality of an institution. Then we have strategy decisions, which are decisions to identify the appropriate strategy, tactics, and different kinds of movements to see how the institutional decisions should be implemented into the institution. And finally, we have the administrator's behaviors decisions, which are decisions about one's response and behaviors. So here, administrators must know themselves well and also others from the institution. Depending on the kind of objective or goal that the institution may have, decisions may be classified as a status quo decision, that is when administrators decide not to change the situations, deferred decision, that is when it's decided at the time, new course decision, that is when the decision changes into a whole direction, and response decision that implies an actual response to the situation.